Now I'm going to tell you the story of such a cartoon that if you're watching this video, you're probably one of the crew who watched the finale of the cartoon and got confused and started asking and researching what it's about. Rick and Morty, just like other beloved cartoons, said goodbye to us with a secret story and a finale that created a question mark in meaningless minds at the end of the cartoon. Don't worry, we are confused like everyone else, and there are many questions to be asked and multiple answers to those questions. For this reason, the real hero is not Rick but Morty. The biggest reason for this was the DNA he received from his father, which was characterized as useless. If he hadn't gotten that DNA, Rick would never be able to hide himself. So, who's he trying to hide from? The Ricks have always been afraid of the smart ones. That's why the Ricks formed the Mortys. But who was the first Rick afraid of? Maybe the smartest person in the universe is not Rick, but Morty. Couldn't it be that for the first time, Rick faced an enemy that defeated him, the evil Morty? Here is the real story of Rick and Morty, with +18 references that fascinate us and question the life that does not lack profanity from his mouth. Before the video starts, let's get to know our characters. For those who don't know them, Rick is the smartest person in the universe, but only if we are wrong. He's an alcoholic, cocky, arrogant, egotistical scientist who is also the most ruthless, yet loving and unhappy person. Morty is a teenage boy, the grandson of Rick, who is always at Rick's side and is a partner in all his adventures, who loves to forgive, who is naive, but at the same time not as intellectually developed, who thinks that he is nothing without Rick. Rick is supposedly the smartest person in the world and the universe, but his grandson has the opposite characteristics. Betty, Rick's daughter, is a smart person like herself, but she has not used this intelligence too much and has given herself to her family. Jerry is Rick's son-in-law and he's married to Betty. But if you ask me who's the one who doesn't have a brain in this cartoon, I'd say it's him, because he's an unqualified person who has never been able to do anything. But the fact that he's like that is of great importance in the functioning of the cartoon. Summer, Betty and Jerry are sisters with daughter and Morty, and Summer is like a side character. However, in many adventures, she is someone who dives into the story with Rick and Morty. Now that we know the characters, we can start. Everything started very strangely. Rick was very young at the time and had a family. He also had a little girl, Betty, but his life would change one day when suddenly Rick came through a portal and told him he had to build a portal machine. Rick was furious when the other Rick said that he was going to quit science and spend time with his family. Young Rick was peacefully getting ready to buy ice cream for his wife and daughter. Suddenly, a portal opened and a bomb fell where his wife and daughter were. That bomb was the thing that would change everything. So, the real Rick invented his own portal weapon and searched the entire universe for the Rick who dropped that bomb to take revenge. But there's one thing that everyone misses. What if he didn't throw that bomb and someone else did? Or he made that explosion himself? Now you will say, why would he kill his wife and daughter? With these questions, we enter the complex structure of the story. Normally Betty, his own daughter and wife, are dead, but we see Betty in every episode. How come his dead daughter exists in other universes? Or the question is, did Rick really have a daughter and a wife? It is better to complete the story before we start with theories. As it is known, Rick is the smartest person in the universe, and he has no equal until he saw the evil Morty in Season 1 Episode 10. He was so smart that it raised the question that he could be the smartest person in the universe. Because the Ricks think they are the smartest, and so they have Mortys walking around with them to be their opposites and mess with their frequencies. So the smartest Rick in the universe cannot be detected. This Morty built himself a dome of hundreds of Mortys, so that no one could detect his intelligence. Think about it. Ricks who think they are very smart only bring one Morty with them. This Morty uses hundreds of them. Let's continue before we get to the bottom of it. In the final season, we learned the reason why the Ricks carry Mortys around with them. In fact, another complex reason for this is to create a universe where Morty can come to the world by marrying his own daughter to the stupidest and mediocre person in the world, because he needs to have his own bloodline, thus creating a universe where they can be easily manipulated and done whatever they want. They introduced Betty and Jerry in all parallel universes to each other and got them married. When this was not enough, they cloned Mortys instead of obtaining them naturally, because in every adventure, Mortys were dying somehow and new ones were needed. In this episode, we understood why Rick was smart in the universe, or rather in the universes we see. In fact, there is no real parallel universe. Each episode we watch is a parallel universe that Rick built himself and made a parallel universe consisting of only the smartest Ricks. They call this the center fading curve. Thanks to this curve, they built a universe that they dominated. But this was going to change. The vengeful Rick was killing every Rick in the universe, and after killing them, he would scan them and try to figure out if he was the killer Rick. But there's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. That killer Rick's portal weapon is much different and more advanced than normal. All Ricks have a 3-eyed portal gun, but this killer Rick has a 9-eyed gun, which shows that he can actually go where normal Ricks cannot go. Maybe the Rick we know as the killer is trying to warn him. Maybe he needed to build this portal machine to warn her of the great danger that awaited her. It was necessary so that the events that needed to happen would happen and the process would continue. Everything that needs to happen in that universe may have already happened. That's why the devil was mortal in that danger. When we examine it carefully, Rick, who was looking for revenge, never scanned himself, which brought another question. Maybe the killer was actually himself, or his future self. In this way, the center of this adventure will be the fading curve, Studdle Mortys, Bettys, Summers and Jerrys, who will embark on dozens of adventures. So, it can't all be the beginning of the end. We told you that Rick was a very unhappy person as well as being intelligent. Maybe he created a family to make himself happy and thought he could find the meaning of life. According to Ricky, life has no meaning, but there is a concept in philosophy that what makes life meaningful is what we bring to it. If we love someone in our lives and they love us, this becomes the meaning of life itself, because loving and being loved is an emotion that we do not understand, but we can only empathize with close people. Therefore, the meaning of life is the value and meaning we give to it. Hating, loving, being curious, inventing or adventuring is a concept that varies from person to person, but the meaning of life is different for everyone. This logic is a quote from the movie Between the Stars, because Rick is very intelligent and understands everything, but he is unhappy. He wants to be happy. He is so deluded that he knows his life is a lie and a fiction. But he doesn't care. He just wants to be happy. So he spends time with his grandchildren. We've seen many episodes where he's happy with them. The Mortys, on the other hand, without knowing their real purpose, always do whatever Rick tells them to do and die when they have to die. However, he never thought that there would be a creature smarter than him in this universe that they built and that he could be an artifact. As you know, if the Ricks of mortals die, their memories are erased and other Ricks are transferred. These Morty Ricks are fresh and pure, and they do everything the Ricks say. Their memories are erased. They've lost their knowledge. Except for one Morty. Somehow he saved his memory from being erased or realized this situation, and after each Rick death, he was transferred to another Rick. DNA-wise, Morty is Rick's grandson, which makes him potentially intelligent. Maybe the reason why he's acting so naive is because his memory is constantly erased. That's why the Devil Morty got rid of this memory erasure and understood the purpose of the Mortys. All this Devil Morty wants is to destroy the center fate curve. For this, he would only have to go to the stadium where Rick and Morty were located, access the source codes of this structure there, and open a huge portal to destroy the center fading curve. He became president of the Staddle, got all the information from Rick's brain, and figured out how to open this gigantic portal. Actually, Staddle is a big portal gun. It's just a key to open the door to the universes where the Rick is the smartest thanks to the center fate curve. If he is destroyed, the center fate curve will be destroyed and they will be able to go to universes other than the universes they have built around them, because this built universe is a structure that only opens to the universe of intelligent Ricks, and the portal gun works accordingly. Rick built his own universe and wrote his own rules of the game. In any case, Rick is only fooling himself. If this center fate curve is destroyed, not only can Rick be smart, but also Morty or other people can be smart, and he can even go to the real universe and live happily and peacefully with his grandfather. Maybe he wanted to create a center fate curve for himself and become the Rick of his own universe. The series ended in complete obscurity. Season 6 ended with a cliffhanger. Because the original Rick didn't die, this shows that maybe there is a possibility that it can continue, but there is no sound. There is a fact that everything that should have happened has happened and ended, but it may still not have happened in other universes. All the adventures happened in our universe and we traveled to these adventures. The question is, were we involved in this adventure as Rick or Morty?